supposed to get snow here tonight, so.
Oh. Well, Deb, you just keep the snow. I don't want any.
At least you're not sitting in snow, LaWanna. At least that you have that.
That's true. That's true. I did splurge this month, and I bought myself a pair of lined snow pants. They're not here yet.
That sounds fabulous. It's cold here in New Jersey, too. It's freezing. And the wind is the worst. It's like, I don't know. It feels like it's like 25. It's horrible.
Carol, what am I actually supposed to talk about tonight? Deb didn't give me any idea. She just said be there.
I sent you an email. I guess it's too late now for you to brush up on what I'm going to ask, so it's all going to be a surprise.
Well, I was so busy, I didn't get the email. I was trying to get everything done so that I didn't have to worry about, anything popping. And didn't even make it to email. I'm so sorry.
No problem. This will all be easy for you because it's stuff you know from the beginning. You may not know some of the years. Like I was just trying to look up. Well, actually, are you ready for me to start this, Deb?
Sure, you go right ahead, Carol.
Well, hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Thank you for joining us today. And today's person that we're going to be talking to is LaWanna Mitchell. And she was the first person to head up our social media team. And so I'm going to ask her a few questions to get it started. And then I'll hand it off to any of you who want to raise your hand and come up here and ask LaWanna questions. But LaWanna, when and what made you first decide to devote so much of your time to protecting big cats?
Actually, you did. When I first came across you, I had been traveling, doing zoos, didn't know the difference between accredited and unaccredited. So I was doing AZA zoos, backyard zoos. And I was working with a friend of mine who's passed now, but she was doing a children's website and I was doing a children's website. And so we both had a fascination with animals in general. And so we were traveling across, I was traveling across around the country with her doing, photos and videos and building children's stuff. And there was one cat that I desperately tried to find a photo of because I couldn't find anywhere that had it. So I emailed this place I saw in Florida to ask this lady named Carol if she had any photos of an Iberian lynx. I wanted to make a memory match game with an Iberian lynx. She said she didn't have an Iberian lynx, so she told me about Apollo, the Siberian lynx. And so we talked for a while, and she had you had actually gone to an AZA conference or something, and way back then, I can't remember, it's like somewhere between 2002 and 2004, somewhere around in there. And AZA at that time was charging like $3,600 for games on websites, which was the new big thing. Well, that's what we were doing. And so I told you, send me some pictures and I'd make you some games and puzzles for your website. Well, you did that. And then you ran out of pictures because back then, not everybody had digital cameras. They were all film cameras, and only, a few knotheads like, Lorraine and I were using digital cameras. And so when you ran out of pictures, you said, come down and take pictures. And I said, yeah, right. Like I can fly to Florida. And so you brought me to Florida for, I think, 10 days that first time. And our deal was that I would make you 6 games for the website. Well, we made literally hundreds. And a year later, ran out of photos. You brought me down and I took photos from daylight till dark. And that was when Brian Sarsnick was doing what Afton does now. I mean, way back then, Facebook didn't even exist. YouTube did not exist. And MySpace was the big one and a whole bunch of other little ones. So after a year, I ran out of photos. And I said, well, I can't make you anything else till you send me more photos. And she said, well, come back and take more photos. So I came back again, spent, I think, 8 days that time, taking photos and videos from daylight till dark. And Brian, at that time, was starting little videos. And so we started finding places online to put them. You didn't really have an online department. You were doing the website by yourself. And I think you were using Dreamweaver, and I was writing code because I didn't know how to use Dreamweaver. You later required me to learn it. And you said you made the mistake of saying you wanted the largest children's website around. So for the next few years, we did that. We had hundreds of children's games and websites and puzzles and, games and puzzles and things like that. We just kind of grew from there. Eventually, this really cool thing came about called YouTube, but it wasn't available for the public. And so Brian and I wrote emails and got other people writing emails. And we finally got onto this. We were one of the few select ones that finally got onto this cool thing called YouTube. And one of the first things that we did on there was you fascinated me with the Snow Leopard Trust and that whole way of getting the locals involved in saving this species in the wild just fascinated me. So we did a push. One of our first things we did on YouTube was a push to get other people to submit videos about snow leopards. And of course, we used all the pictures of Hercules and Chloe, which were snow leopards you had there at Big Cat Rescue, to allow them to make videos about saving the snow leopard, and that the way that Snow Leopard Trust got the locals protecting the snow leopard instead of killing the snow leopard. And that contest went pretty big. Let's see. By, I think, January 2007, I told you I wasn't going to be able to volunteer much anymore because I had to go get a second job. And you messaged me back and said, well, how about I hire you and you be a job? And one of the things that you had told me was I could only work for accredited facilities. And it was like, okay, what's that? That's when I learned the difference between accredited and non-accredited. And here I'd been all these places and saw some of the raunchiest stuff and had never gotten smart enough to realize the difference between accredited and unaccredited. Oh, one more thing, and then I'll stop on the answer to this question. The first time I ever came down there, one of the things I made a mistake of saying to you was how you had Zabu and Cameron had just had not been there very long, like a couple weeks, and I was telling you how much I loved white tigers. Oh boy, did that open a floodgate with you? And you started explaining to me that white tigers was a man-made mutant, and all of the deformities they had, how many, did not survive, and the history of how the white tiger became such a big deal in the U.S. And I argued with you for half my trip down there. We sat at what is now, I think, the enrichment building. We sat at a table in there, and you pulled up all kinds of stuff on the computer. And I mean, it just absolutely shattered me, and I had the hardest time grasping that the truth about the white tiger. And that struck a chord with me because I had been to so many places that had white tigers, including some sanctuaries that I won't name. And I could not believe that white tigers came from inbreeding, and that's what made that recessive gene, come up and get a white tiger. And it just floored me. So after that was the first major passion, was educating about white tigers. And, one of the first questions I'd ask a politician when I'd meet them, which, back then I was real into that, was, what do you think a white tiger is? An endangered species or a man-made mutant? And not one politician ever answered that question correctly. So they'd get an earful. I don't know. Have I covered
Yeah, you did. And that's been an amazing trip down memory lane because so much of that I had not remembered. And so I'm enjoying this so much. I really hope everybody else is because for me, it's like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that and I forgot about that. Do you remember? We were like before motion pictures because like you said, there was no place that you could put a video online anywhere and share it. And so you were taking pictures in succession, like of a cat yawning, and we would post those pictures so that people would have that flow of like, this is what it would look like if it were video.
Yeah, I remember that. I had just gotten, and it was like a little tiny digital, Sony digital camera, but it had a Zeiss lens. And you could do a burst shoot where it would take 9 photos in a row. And that was the only way we could do video back at that time. And, gosh, I mean, yeah, that was... Yeah, I forgot about that. That's right. We did all those little GIFs and talking e-cards and stuff.
So back then, the way that we would be in front of people was not on social media because, like you said, it didn't even exist. And all of those CDs that you were doing, and you were doing those child DNA projects because kids were being abducted, and this was a way that people could protect their kids. All of those were things that you used to be able to get our message out to people. And
the child ID program that she's talking about, my daughter had actually gone missing when she was 12 in 2006. And it took, community people putting out flyers and police on it, and we finally found her. After that, I realized one of the most terrifying things that when the police came to the house, I did not have quick access to her social security number, a current photo, all these different things. So I worked with a lady at the police department, and we put together a child ID kit on CD. And it covered everything that the police would ask for, so people could make these, they just go on and type in, answers to things, and then it would automatically transfer that information onto information sheets that they could just print out. And I told people to keep them in a gallon Ziploc bag in the freezer. It also showed how to draw your child's blood so you could prepare DNA and everything. And we had, across the bottom of every sheet that it printed out, was Big Cat Rescue's website address. And then we had, Bob Dixon, who was a Missouri politician, Dan Scott, Charlie Knorr, Charlie Dake, several politicians actually loved that thing. And so I would color code it. I would customize it, change the color scheme, add a screen all about them and what they stood for. And then they would have the CDs, pay to have the CDs printed with their picture and stuff on the front. And of course, Big Cat Rescue. And they handed those out. One guy had Santa Claus handing them out to the parents, Charlie Knorr, was a Missouri State Representative, handing those out to all the parents that came to see Santa Claus, because he was Santa Claus that year. And it was phenomenal. That went so well that we opened it up at your urging to do it for everybody. And so we posted a website of it, and we had literally people in Africa, the UK, all around the world, Boy Scouts, Tiger Scouts, Girl Scouts, daycare centers, Spotsylvania, Virginia Health Department, tons and tons of places were contacting us. And it would take me about 2 hours to recreate the program customized for them with their color scheme, their photos about, what they did and all that. But all the Big Cat Rescue information stayed in that program as well. And so we had this program that we would customize free for everybody. And then they would, because it was something cool they could give that didn't exist, that they could give out in their communities. So we had people literally around the world making these CDs and handing them out at neighborhood meetings and health departments and stuff. And it was just a kind of a fun way that Big Cat Rescue got their name out there.
I think you're right that you probably came into my world like 2002, 2003. I can't remember if I met you first or Howie first, but it would have been right around that same time. I met Howie in November of 2002.
You and Howie were dating.
Okay.
Howie he was pretty new on the scene, and I remember he took me on a tour, and it just happened the tour that was going out was a children's tour, and he was asking, he asked these little kids, what do you do if you see a tiger in the wild? And I was like, run! Oh my goodness, I was so embarrassed in front of all these kids and all these parents. He just very quietly and calmly corrected me. And I was like, oh great. Then I was been on the grounds for like 15 minutes at that point.
Well, what I remember about you is you were working just crazy long hours for years before we actually had a paid position for you. And I think it wasn't until like 2008 that we actually paid you for some of your work. And it was really nominal pay. Well, it's still nominal pay. But can you talk about the kind of hours that you were putting in as a volunteer and what inspired you to do that?
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 years. And I was, I still had 5 kids at home. I worked in my landlord's rental office, cleaned carpets, had the contract for photography for the Boys and Girls Club sports programs. And so I worked all the time. But it was like, get up in the morning and volunteer until I absolutely had to walk away from the computer to go to work. Come home every minute I had. And then when I get home in the evening, kids go to bed at 8 o'clock. And man, I'd be on that computer till like daylight. And I'd make these, all these games and stuff and give you detailed instructions how to add them to the website. And one day you didn't get it done after a couple of days. And I was like, okay, do you need different instructions? And you said, just do it yourself. And so I put on your website because, it was crazy hours. And any day that I didn't have to work, I'd be on that computer nonstop. And my husband would come home and he said, you still in your pajamas? Yeah, I haven't had time to change. Okay, too much information, sorry. It became my focus. And I had the benefit of learning from you because I didn't know the difference between accredited and non-accredited. I didn't know the white tiger thing. I didn't know the cub thing. I didn't know any of that stuff. And here I'd been traveling zoos and sanctuaries for probably 3 or 4 years before I met you. And I learned more in those first few days at the sanctuary than I had learned in all these years. And I had done San Diego Zoo, San Diego Wild Animal Park, Dickerson Zoo, St. Louis, Kansas City, Memphis, big places, besides a lot of roadside places and other sanctuaries that are now accredited. So I'd been to all these places and nobody had taught me any of this stuff. And I mean, I was behind the scenes in those facilities from like 2 hours before they'd open until, a few hours after they closed. And I didn't know any of this stuff. You taught me so much in those few days. And that first couple of years, I was emailing you constantly with questions. And I fought you sometimes on every turn because you'd tell me stuff that I just, like the cub pay to play. That was so hard for me to grasp. I couldn't believe how that one thing tied together with all these other little puzzle pieces to make a big picture of what's killing the species in the wild, the pet trade. And you'd teach me something, and then I ask you 5,000 questions because it was just so hard to grasp what you were telling me until all the little pieces started fitting together. You just kept planting seeds and explaining things, and you were so patient when I'm sure you probably would rather just smacked me.
Well, you bring up something that I think is so interesting, and I'm sure you've seen this, and that is that the people who argue with us the most coming in off the street are typically the ones that once they get the big picture, they become the most vocal for the cats. And it can be really trying when you're dealing with a lot of people coming in that feel like they know everything about how animals should be in captivity and how it serves conservation and all of that crap that they've been told their whole life. But once they get to see the truth and really grasp it, they become some of our best advocates. So I think the next question I'm going to ask is, or the last question I'm going to ask is for you to tell people how you transitioned from doing all of these games to taking over our online media and how that role has evolved.
Oh, goodness. When it first started, I was just doing things for your website, Santa letter programs, the child ID program, games, puzzles, was just doing things to try to be able to capitalize on additional keywords to get your website, to get the bigcatrescue.org website out there in search engines and out in front of people. And then Brian Sarsnick got this harebrained idea of putting videos. And so we started searching for places to put videos. And again, like I said, there was no YouTube, there was no Facebook. And we ended up building a spreadsheet, which you insisted I learn how to use spreadsheets, which I fought you on that too. But eventually gave in and did it. We had, I think we were on 83 websites, which are kind of like Facebook now, which over the years, they all just kind of went away. And so we started getting these videos out. And then Brian left, and this little intern that I had just absolutely fallen in love with, I mean, he just reminded me of my kids so much, and that was Chris Poole. You brought him back to do videos. And so by then, we're on YouTube. We've been on YouTube for a while and stuff. And so Chris started making these videos, and Chris would work like morning till noon. And then I'd take over at noon and work until into the night, because I was still doing the website stuff, but it had grown into putting photos and videos in as many places as we could get them. But I was still off till noon, which meant, I could still do, my other job, which, carpet cleaning is what my trade was. But I always had to be home by 12 o'clock. And then I just worked through the night putting stuff everywhere and still building stuff to continue our children's site and capitalizing on new keywords. For example, well, that's a side story. But anyway, then Chris left, and it was like, now I got it all. I got to do Chris's part. What was Chris doing, by the way? He was doing this site and that site and this. Okay, I'll take those. Well, he was also on this. Okay, I'll take that one too. And it just, all of a sudden, I quit the carpet business because I was literally working from daylight until I would fall asleep with my head landing on the keyboard. And it just kind of stayed that way. Then we had another guy that came in to do video, only lasted a couple months, and then Afton took over. Well, when Afton took over the videos and stuff, she took on YouTube and things like that. And back about that time, we were still dealing with a ton of hate from Joe and his cronies. And I mean, there would be times I would text you or email you and say, I'm sorry, I got to go to bed. It was a 36-hour straight shift of just cleaning, hate comments off of our sites. And then one thing that I love dealing with those, because I knew how hard it was to grasp the white tiger thing. I remembered how hard it was understanding how the cub petting was actually one of the root things causing extinction in the wild. And so I was able to deal with a lot of those people. And so when I would have to deal with somebody with hate, it was a challenge to me to plant a seed and then give it a few days and contact them again and plant another seed. And some of those people are big helpers online with us right now. But after Chris left, my life kind of stopped because everything after that was Big Cat Rescue, and it's just been nonstop ever since. Then, a couple of years, I don't know how, maybe 3 years ago or so, ran across these two ladies, Carol Judge, actually three, Carol Judge and Deb Quimby and Karen Nash. And it was like, oh my, these ladies are amazing. I love them to pieces. Haven't met a single one of them in person yet after all these years. I still haven't. But all of a sudden, they were taking on parts of my job. And I was like, oh, wow. So then I was able to move on and start a new project and get it going, and then farm it to one of them. And then I move on to another project, use all outreach-related projects, and then hand it off to one of them. And then they take it over and move on. We are on lots of social sites, and we've got, I can't even tell you how many amazing people. Cross my heart, this is not exaggerated. We probably have at least 800 regular volunteers. Deb, Karen, and CJ, Carol Judge, those three ladies head up so many things. And then CJ took on an assistant, Alyssa. She has now kind of taken over coordinating the groups. Deb has taken over coordinating Facebook. Karen has taken over coordinating firewall team, which has freed me up. And now I focus on, I'm working in about 1,200 Facebook groups besides other sites. And altogether, we've got people working in probably close to 4,000 Facebook groups, where once a week I sit down and I will send them a zip file, and they will have, or some I have to attach to email, some I have to do it through text messages, some I have to do it through Messenger. I send them out what I call filler posts. And so they post in their groups. Their team leader checks on what they post. If they have any questions, or somebody has to play referee, then I'm called in. But I put them through an educational where I'll get them on. Usually I try to do it on the phone in groups of 3 or 4. And now Facebook Room's out, it makes it real easy. And I quiz them. I become the hater that they have to plant seeds in. First, I make sure they understand the issues and know how to explain them. And then I become the hater, and I quiz them and make sure that they can always stay calm, never take it personal, explain an issue, and if the person is interested, keep explaining. If they're not interested, walk away. Don't argue with them, because that just concretes their negative view. Plant the seeds, give them places to look for more information, then walk away and leave them alone. Make another contact later and plant another seed, kind of like what you did with me. Teach them. You can't teach them the big picture in one sitting. You have to teach them, give them pieces of the puzzle, and then start putting those pieces of the puzzle together. And I try to put team members under team leaders that have similar personalities or personality type styles that can work together. Because when it doesn't work well at all. And you kind of have to, when you give them these pieces of the puzzle, you kind of have to get a real quick idea of what their personality is. Do they need long conversations with extreme details, or do they just need a piece of information and a link? I don't know, am I answering what you want? Pretty much what I do now is just all outreach and taking care of things when an assistant or team leader or team member calls me in to take care of something, or if they have the difficult people that they don't want to deal with, people who are coming that they think are haters. I usually get sent those difficult ones and work one-on-one with them.
I think that is an excellent answer. So thank you so much. And Deb, are you available to call everybody up here for their questions?
Absolutely. Daniel, if you guys will pull to refresh, so pull your screen down, And it puts everybody in the same order, so we're all seeing the same thing. And Daniel, you are the first one that I see. Did you have a question or a comment?
Oh, so many, but I'll limit myself. LaWanna is so cool, so it's like, but why didn't you ask her? I'm sorry that I found Big Cat Rescue so late. I didn't know that you guys were online as long as you were. I think I found you guys when the Guatemalan boys came in. And I wanted to thank, I didn't know what to ask LaWanna because I knew she was coming on. But then I remembered, not my birthday this year, but my birthday the year before, I raised money to get Simba Tiger his Tipsy Tom toy. And LaWanna was integral in helping me do that. I didn't know the first thing about doing a fundraiser or anything like that. And LaWanna explained it, and so did, I think the rest of the admins pretty much helped me. And I was able to get him the toy, which he still has, and I'm told plays with. And I just wanted to thank LaWanna so much for all that she did to help Simba get his toy. And I'm also a horse lover, and I know LaWanna has horses, and horse people are cool people.
You know, Daniel, you are one of those people that has been an absolute joy. You have always been so eager to learn the issues and then to share what you learned with others. And I'll tell you what, guys, the Facebook fundraisers that Daniel has done, he has worked his fanny off. And I think the last one, didn't you raise like over $1,000 for the cats?
Even.
Yeah. Daniel, you have become an example. Always eager to learn. You have a way of understanding the issues, and then I catch you. I see you different places online passing that information on, and I always just want to reach through the computer and give you a hug.
Thank you very much. Anything for the cats, honestly, and it's the little bit I can do is necessary.
One of the most important things we can all do is make that call of the wild, because getting this Big Cat Safety Act passed, it will stop the steady stream of cubs being born that are doomed for life in cages. And once this stops, that abuse stops, and we can focus more heavily on saving them in the wild. That reminds me, can I interject something before you continue?
Of course, go ahead.
Okay, one thing that fascinates me is Carol is always on the cutting edge of, new technology, new way of doing things. And as she can probably grit her teeth and shake her head on, I fight her on many things because sometimes it takes me a while to grasp these new ideas. But once I get it, once she makes me understand, and that virtual reality, I find absolutely fascinating. And her idea of being able to put live cameras throughout the wilds where the wildcats are, and then find a way through those coin things to create an income for the local economy, so that Snow Leopard Trust program is somewhat mimicked to where the locals are helping save the species in the wild. That fascinates me. And all of you, like Daniel and everybody else who is backing Big Cat Rescue and helping push our mission forward, the quicker we can get the Public Safety Act passed, the quicker we can move on to the next level of being able to save these guys in the wild. So all of you who do Facebook fundraisers, you have been an absolute joy. And Carol Judge, I know I have driven you crazy. You fix my spreadsheets every time I mess them up. You keep me on track of doing follow-ups and things like that. Okay, I don't know what else to say, so I'll give it back to Daniel.
It was called Don't Hate Me For It.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, Carol Judge is very detail-oriented, and I'm a quick get-it-done person, and she pounds me with those details until I understand them and I get them right, and I follow up on things that fall through the cracks. She does not let me let things fall through the cracks. So.
Thanks very much, LaWanna.
Karen, Karen, did you have a question or a comment? Well, wait, I know the answer to that. Karen, would you like to ask a question?
I do. Can you believe it? No, I just wanted to say, LaWanna, I was laughing so hard with the part with you were saying that you'll say walk away, like plant the seed, walk away. Just today, I did that. I had to, because we were having this long thread with someone, and I put a couple links. We did, you know, I don't want it to turn into an argument. I always listen. Your voice is in my head, and I'm always thinking, LaWanna wants me to do it this way. I don't know how many times I've said it to the team. No. We have to do it this way. So today we had one person, a little snarky, and maybe three of us were in on trying to educate her. And then I had to just say, okay, that's it, walk away. She has enough information. We're not going to argue with her. She's got enough. And I do that all the time. So I know I got that from you, and I didn't even know I got that from you, but I did get that from you. So I use it all the time. Plant the seed, walk away. Plant the seed, walk away.
It makes it different. How many, all of you who are on my teams, I've heard this in the meantime. If they are complaining pages, if they are questioning, if they are, spouting some kind of nonsense that they heard, misinformation, I view it, I try to get everybody else to do it. Do not take it personal. View it instead as this person has a crappy opinion, or they wouldn't care enough to argue with it. That's not always the case, but I always view it as if they're or the it is misinformation they have or lack of information, and the job is to give them information. And some people can take a whole basket load of information at once and make sense of it. People need a seed and give it time to grow. Later, seed. Later, but never do people be inspired with us as, they're unapproachable or they don't want to learn. Until they prove to you they don't want to learn. Always plant seeds and then give them space to digest it.
Yes, I will take them off of there and then try to speak with them if I think they need more or if they ask for more by PMing them or, going into a private conversation with them. But thank you so much. I don't want to take a lot of time. We have a lot of people and I have terrible internet service where I am right now. So thank you. I'm so glad to be a part of it, and you've taught me well. Seems as though. Thank you.
Karen, I just wanted to say thank you. You are phenomenal. In case y'all don't know it, Karen works around the clock running that firewall team, educating the public. You are
I'm having trouble hearing you, so I'm going to have to listen to this because I want to hear all the good things.
Oh, we lost her. Jaden, you're next. Did you have a question or comment for LaWanna?
I actually have a couple questions and a couple comments. I haven't been following as long. I think I found Big Cat Rescue when Boo and Cameron were still around, and I absolutely fell in love with the two of them. They were so sweet and playful, and it was just magical to watch them. I know, white tigers are, bad and everything because they're inbred and stuff like that, which actually, here's the funny thing. When I was younger growing up, I used to be obsessed with tigers. And my nickname was Tigger.
I'll remember to call you Tigger from now on, my friend.
That's fine with me. I don't mind at all. I still love tigers, animals. Flint is my favorite by far, and Jinx. Those two are
the tiger theme there.
What's that?
I said you kind of strayed from the tiger thing there.
Yeah, I know. Well, you watch Flint be a little crazy boy in the room growing up, and it's been a rough week for all of us at Big Cat Rescue. I mean, I know I'm not there physically, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about.
You don't have to be there to be a very important part of the BCR family and the BCR outreach team.
I want to get more involved.
Good. Then contact me or Deb or Karen afterwards, and we'll get you there.
Okay, because I actually, my best friend, him and I were talking. I'm like, I can talk your ear off about Big Cat Rescue. He's like, I don't care. I'm like, okay. So, I'm talking everybody's ear off. I'm showing my parents the lives that Brittany has,
Thank you.
I show everybody that I can possibly get a hold of. Everybody on my Facebook page, they're worthless. The only reason why I'm on Facebook is because of Big Cat Rescue.
Plant the seed.
That's what
Facebook wall to plant the seeds.
I'm trying.
Go to Big Cat TV once a day and share one video. One day do a like a fun enrichment video. The next day go to Big Cat TV and go to the FAQ playlist and post one of the FAQ videos. Plant seeds, and before long you'll see that your friends and family are starting to view what you're talking about a little bit more seriously.
Okay. Yeah, I also this actually happened last week or the week before. Somebody was talking about getting a Savannah cat, and I about flipped my lid.
Patience, always patience.
I'm like, do you realize that this is a wild animal with a domestic animal? It's gonna pee everywhere. I tried to explain to them everything that I know right now. I'm not as educated as most, and I would like to have more information so I can educate more.
Well, you can talk to us afterwards, and we'll see that happens. Let me share you a story about a Savannah cat that might help you. This was, I think, 2013. I got a call at like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. A small domestic rescue center had a breeder, a Savannah breeder, come in and drop off 27 cats that were going to be euthanized at 10 o'clock the next morning if we didn't place them. Carol was out of town. Carol and Howie were out of town. I made phone calls trying to get these people to hold off till I could get a hold of somebody, find something out. I called them, and I called that facility back over and over and over and over, all through the night, all the next morning until 10 o'clock. When they answered the phone, they said, oh, well, we euthanized them, all 27, at 9 a.m. because we cannot rehome cats that are half live. We can't rehome them. I cried for days after that. So while is it fair for someone to have a Savannah cat when the vast majority of them end up dumped or relegated off to a small cage somewhere by the time they reach sexual maturity? They remain the sweet, cute little thing they were as a kitten. Is it fair for so many to suffer just on the rare case that one works out? Is it really fair? Usually, animal lover, you can turn them by getting them to understand that.
Well, I got 2 cats of my own, so
I'm going to jump in here and say we need to move to the next person because there's so many people up here on the stage that have questions for LaWanna, and we got 15 minutes left.
Sorry, Carol.
No problem.
I'll message you guys.
Okay, thanks, Tigger.
Yep.
Hi, CJ. Did you have a question or a comment?
Hey there. Well, one thing I wanted to mention, because I didn't hear LaWanna say it, but the whole time that she was talking about that she was doing the zoos, she was a photographer. She was taking pictures at the zoos. I assume maybe to work on their websites, I don't know, but that's what doing zoos means.
They would use them like on their gift shop bags and their posters and things like that. And then I was doing activity CDs where I would make games and puzzles on these CDs and then customize a label for them, and then they'd sell them in their gift shop.
Well, I did hear one thing tonight that I didn't know. I was sure I would not hear anything that I haven't already heard. But my only comment really is, it is a joy to work with you. It's just, it has been so much fun, and you're so, I have to prod now and then.
Yes, you do, and
I
always tell you, keep prodding. Kick me when I don't follow through fast enough on something. Boy, does she ever. I love you for that.
It's mainly just time. But I just wanted to say you're a wonderful quote unquote boss, and I love working with you, and I love being able to contribute to Big Cat Rescue.
Well, the hours that you put in for the sanctuary, and our fundraisers, and the groups and outreach, and helping me condense my long explanations down to civilly linked things. I can't thank you enough, and for correcting my spelling all the time, and I gripe at you about it, but thank you.
My pleasure, my dear.
Hi, Dawn. Did you have a question or comment for LaWanna?
Hi, Deb. Hi, Carol. Hi, Carol. Hi, LaWanna.
Hey.
Just, I wanted to let you guys know that, LaWanna, I do like working with you. Me being the team leader for the Instagram. And again, you telling me that to plant that seed and then walk away. I use that and I hear that in my brain and in my head every day. And when I get like that revving engine going, I want to say something. Okay, it's time to back off because LaWanna said.
You have become real jewel. I treasure you.
Thanks, LaWanna. Again, Big Cat Rescue is something that I am very much so going to fight for because it's all about the cats. And then the people that you have met along the way are just phenomenal.
I agree. It's a family that I haven't met, but I know and love each one of you more than I can even express. I depend on you guys, and you never let me down.
Hi, Mary. Did you have a question or comment for LaWanna?
Well, I just want to say thank you for having me, LaWanna. I really appreciate the fact that you invited me to work on Firewall and MeWe. And I enjoy working with the team. It's amazing. And yes, we hear your voice saying, walk away, just plant the seed. We don't have to do too much, but sometimes it's a little bit tempting. But thank you.
You are more than welcome, and thank you. You took on MeWe. I was beating my head against a wall, and I dropped that in your lap, and you've done phenomenal with it. I can't thank you enough for taking that project on. You are doing great with it, and I know that it's not an easy site to do. I know it's not easy, and you have been a trooper, even when you've had to wait and wait for me to get back to you on some things. You have been a trooper. I have admired the way you just took that on and ran full steam ahead.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure, and I'd like to do more.
Well, you do a lot now.
Thank you.
Hi, Barbara. Did you have a question or a comment for LaWanna?
Well, yeah, not really. Have been kind of looking at the TikTok, and I don't see that we get a lot of real haters on that, or am I just
because I
scrub them that quick?
Yes, I do that site many times a day, and you're not seeing them because I delete them. That's why sometimes you'll see something go from 1,000 comments to 200.
Yeah, because I'll go on there even fairly soon after it's been on. I'm like, okay, I see these same people on there going, "Oh, I love what you guys do," and I'm like, "Okay, where's everybody else?" Yeah, I was just, now I was just wondering because I kind of thought, I can't believe we're not getting all that crap on TikTok.
I try to reach out to them, individually, especially if I know they're like on Facebook or if I've seen them on one of the other social sites. I'll try to reach out to them through those sites and work with them. And we have turned a lot of them around. That site now has over 414,000 followers and far, far, far more viewers than that. And Deb and I've actually been talking even just yesterday. I'm trying some more experiments on getting educational content on there. So
yeah, because I think you can have a minute, or is it 3 minutes now?
3 minutes now.
Yeah.
So we're working on it. Thank you for all you do to help in the comments. I see your comments come across there, and it's like, go Barb.
Yeah, every so often I'm in there going, yeah, but sometimes I'm just, because I can't answer some of them. People say, follow me back. Well, I can't do anything about that. Or, some of that stuff you can't do much about, but, I can't. But, no, it's okay. I was just wondering how the TikTok was going. No problem. Thanks.
It's one of our challenging tasks, but we're working on it.
Hi, Nancy. Did you have a question or comment for LaWanna?
Yes. Hi, LaWanna. I really appreciate everything that you have done and are currently doing for Big Cat Rescue. It's really good to get to know you better and to hear more about what you do. I was really impacted tonight about several people, you included, talking about knowing when to walk away from a conversation about the cats, because I had to do that yesterday, I think. It was a friend and mentor, a former boss, somebody I really, really, really respect, and my feelings got involved. I was very hurt because he wasn't listening and just discounting me, but I just had to walk away and say thank you for your time when he was just beginning to debate about it a little bit.
Well,
and
when that happens, always stop the conversation before it turns negative.
Mm-hmm.
Just proceed, and they'll think about it, and you'll get another opportunity to talk to them. And BCR has become my life. My whole world revolves around BCR. I get up in the morning, take care of my animals, race to the computer, stay there till I go take a break, and take care of my computers, race back to the computer. In fact, while we've been here talking, my oldest son walked out here, and of course my entire family knows that if I hold up my finger, it's like, she's doing something for BCR. Keep my mouth shut. Be quiet till she gets done. And he's still just standing here patiently waiting. So,
thank you.
Hi, Drew. Welcome to the Big Cats room. Did you have a question or comment for LaWanna?
Yeah, I have a question for LaWanna. I just want to know, since you were kind of a part of the inception of the technology of social media, what's one thing that you've seen that is kind of changed from a technology perspective of how you interact with the people that you want to engage as far as the Big Cat Rescue sanctuary is concerned?
I find that a lot of people are more open to learning online than they are face-to-face sometimes. Sometimes people are more comfortable approaching unfamiliar territory or learning something new online than they are in person. I absolutely love what I do, and getting to talk to people and teach them new things. And then when I see them picking up the different puzzle pieces, and all of a sudden a light bulb goes off and they get how all the pieces fit together, I can't even begin to tell you how rewarding that is. And then when I see them joining a team and then working their way up to be a team leader and really out there pushing the information to other people, and when they are so patient and they let people say what they want to say, and then they acknowledge what that person said, and then they steer the conversation in a way that they can teach. There's nothing more rewarding than than that. I love what I do.
May I ask one more question?
You sure can.
So Daniel talked about a little bit about fundraising. I want to know what are some of your strategies for creating a successful fundraiser?
Okay, Facebook fundraiser. When you set up your fundraiser, make sure that you have a very clear and concise description of what your fundraiser is for. Then you want to post it on your wall, share it to any groups that you belong in that allow it. Invite your friends to it. Don't be pushy, but invite your friends to it, and then go back and after a couple days, add another post to your fundraiser. Give people an update. As people donate, make sure you thank each and every one of them, one by one. Thank them for the donation. And then after your fundraiser finishes, make sure that you make a post on your wall, thanking people for what they've done. Tell them a little bit more about Big Cat Rescue. But the most important thing is be present in your fundraiser. Don't just make a fundraiser and that's that. You've got to work it. You've got to send out invites to it. Add new posts regularly if it's a 2-week fundraiser, you should be making a post every other day on that fundraiser with another cat. Introduce another cat. Put a photo of it up or an enrichment video of it up in the comments on your fundraiser so that people start getting to know and understand exactly what it is you're raising money for. Get them involved. Ask your friends. Don't be shy about asking your friends to share it to their wall. Maybe they can't donate, but maybe someone they know can. And follow up. Those follow-up thank yous are crucially important.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Hi, Marcy. Did you have a question or comment for LaWanna?
Sure. Just a general thank you to everyone who helps with the online presence and the education. I was born the year of the tiger, so I've always said it was just natural that I have always loved tigers. But even with that love, I did not fully understand about white tigers. And it was Big Cat Rescue that did help that education, where there's so much other conflicting information out there about white tigers, and they are beautiful, but clearly they're not natural. So just thank you for the education. I am not one who uses Facebook other than for you guys and one other group that one of their activities is known as Chaos and Kindness. So I bet you can guess what cat I sponsor for them. But anyways, just thank you for the education and putting it out there. I try to share the information with my friends, and certainly there have been, not heated, but there have been good conversations about conservation and is it really conservation when it's for a life in captivity. Anyways, I just appreciate all the work that all of you do for the cats and for educating us.
On your last comment, I know we don't have time here, but feel free to contact me tomorrow because I'd like to get more information on that will help you in discussions for whether it helps with conservation and how you can use those things in a conversation to help in the things that are dooming cats to cages, and how those having them in cages is actually aiding in the extinction in the wild. So contact me tomorrow and we'll have a little chat on some ideas you might be able to use in conversations on that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hi, Matthew. Did you have a question or comment for LaWanna?
I do. So when I first started following Big Cat Rescue back in 2016, LaWanna, you were one of the first people that found out that at the time I was only like 15, 16 years old. What was your reaction when you found that out?
Well, I'm a mother. So my first reaction, and I think some of my admins like CJ can attest to this, I wanted to help guide your knowledge, but I also laid down strict laws for what you could and could not do online. Mm-hmm. made sure that everybody who was overseeing things knew what your age was and knew they were to keep an eye and make sure that you were safe online. And I think I made you go ask your mom.
Yeah.
Because I wanted you to be safe, and I didn't want, BCR all of a sudden to be, your involvement with BCR to be a reason that you were targeted online. But I tell you what, kiddo, you have certainly grown into an amazing voice for the cats, and I cherish you.
Thank you.
Matthew, I have to jump in real quick just for a second. This is CJ. I think you'll remember, because I think I told you at some point, by the time I started really seeing your name around, you knew so much. And I thought, for whatever reason, I thought you were like 60 years old. That was with the profile. I've never seen a picture or anything. But you were just so well informed that it's like, this guy is really good. So when I found out you were 16, I was shocked.
Yep. And there were certain things you wanted to do online that I wouldn't let you do because I had to respect your age and feel like I had to protect you. But at the same time, it was like, hurry up and get a little older because you're going to be one of the greatest voices BCR has.
Matthew, I have to say, when I first found your name online as well, I thought you were much older, and it was mainly because of the way that you wrote. Your writing style was so much older than your age, and still to this day, it's much older than your actual age. So you always so impressed me by the way that you write in support of the cats, and the review that you just did on the conservation game was outstanding.
Thank you.
So thank you for that.
Yeah. And I'm just going to add that into, this is Karen. I've worked with Matthew. We've done some fairs together and some things outside, well, not outside of BCR, for BCR. And he is just a fine gentleman. That's all I can say. I know he's young. I thought also he was about a 60-year-old man, but he's just the best kid in the whole world. Love you, Matthew. You're the best.
Well, his passion for the cats and his fearlessness in speaking up for the cats. Matthew, you're an example. And like I said, I cherish you, kid. Well, you're not a kid, LaWanna.
Hi, Susan. Did you have a question or comment for LaWanna?
Yes, I do. First of all, like many of us, I would like to thank LaWanna for everything she has done and is still doing. And I love following you and reading your comments. I was wondering, could you just explain a little how the interaction goes between you and the people who are on site? Because things that happen at the sanctuary very much have an impact on the people who follow them online.
Well, that's kind of changed over time. For many years, Carol was the only one that I really had contact, and we had contact many, many, many times a week by email or by phone. And then when Chris came on the scene, a lot of my contact went through Chris because Carol was so busy. But yet it was still, always kind of Carol I went to because I didn't really know too many others other than the old timers, the ones who've been at BCR for ages, like Marie and Matt and different ones. But in the last year or so, I have turned a lot of the Facebook duties over to Deb, and Deb has kind of become the go-between. I stay so busy doing all the outreach things that I do that I depend on Deb to take over a lot of that conversation, connection, contact between me and the sanctuary. Deb's kind of become my go-between now. I still go to Carol when I need to, and trust me, and Susan was there for a long time, and I went through Susan for a lot because Carol was so busy. But we have Big Cat Rescue has an internal for that we share information with each other so we can all stay in contact without have 5,000 conversations
because we're all so busy. But I'm still learning, and it's Carol that I learned from.
Thank you. That was interesting.
And by the way, Susan, you have become so amazing. You have been, the tasks that you do, you are so consistent, and you have such a good eye. I can't thank you for what you do. I don't think anybody really realizes the kind of hours that you put in. So thank you.
Well, you may be confusing me with some other Susan.
Aren't you my video? Does our videos?
No, I'm sorry. I'm someone who asked way too many questions. Sorry.
You don't ask too many questions. You ask all the questions you want, and I'll wipe the egg off my face real quick. And
I'm glad there's another Susan out there doing an outstanding job.
Well, you contact anytime you want, Susan.
That would be Susan Mesner.
Yes.
Yes, Susan is awesome with all her videos.
Yes, she is.
El Nathan, I'm sorry if I've mispronounced your name. Welcome to Big Cat's Room. Did you have a question or comment for LaWanna?
Yes. I had asked Carol a question that I was hoping that LaWanna might also answer. I'd asked her what the one thing she'd learned about cats, rescue, conservation, and sort of the politics of big cats, which she wished she knew when she first started out was. So what's the one thing you know now which you wish you knew when you first started out? And the second, if you're comfortable sharing, is...
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, no, the second is, if you're comfortable sharing, is there a career mistake that you made that you would consider your biggest career mistake to date working with big cats? And that's all. Thank you.
Okay. I think the biggest mistake that I make is I get so many irons in the fire, so many things on my plate that I'm trying to do that sometimes I get lost and things fall through the cracks if I don't have Deb and Karen and CJ reminding me that you need to slow down and close up these things before you move on to the next. What was the first part of your question?
So the first part of the question was, what's the one thing you've learned about cat rescue, conservation, and politics that you wish you knew when you first started out?
The biggest thing I think is, for so many years, I thought I was helping animals, but I absolutely did not understand that the exotic pet trade was directly linked to extinction in the wild. I did not understand that the exotic pet trade provided such a smokescreen for poaching and other things that are destroying the cats in the wild. I did not understand that until Carol pounded it in my head. And when I say it like that, I mean, she just kept explaining it over and over, how the details all fit together. And I did not understand that the exotic pet trade is what was causing extinction in the wild.
Thank you for that, and thank you to Carol for answering my questions earlier. Bye.
Thank you.
So I have one final question, and that is, how can people help you, LaWanna?
Oh my goodness, there are so many ways. If everyone would go to bigcatact.com, make the call of the wild, and then don't just tell your friends to do it. Follow up and offer to sit with your friend while they make their first call. Follow up, start a calling tree among your friends and family, whether it's online or in person, and get everybody, hey, I made my call on Monday. Have you made yours? Hey, it's Monday. We need to all make our call this week. And contact your friends and say, hey, did you remember to make the call, or did life get too busy? Can you squeeze it in there? The other thing is, help us get the word out by educating online. An easy way to do it, to ease into it, is go to bigcattv.com pick a video and share it to your Facebook wall. Do that once a day, and you'd be surprised how much more you're helping us reach more people, not only by the people who are seeing the video you post, but all of those links, getting those videos out there, encourages YouTube to put our videos in the suggested videos. And that really helps us get the message out there to more people. Do an enrichment video one day, and the next day go to the FAQ playlist and do one of Afton's FAQ videos. That's a good way to start. Another way is join our Facebook groups. CJ works very hard on putting information in what's called units or classes to help people understand the different pieces of the puzzle, the different issues, and how they fit together. Then hop on our social sites and help answer questions, or just go, if you're not comfortable with that yet, then go through and like good comments. All of that activity helps get our message pushed out farther. Contact some of us and let us walk you through some of the issues that you may not know about yet. And just talk, whether it's with your fingers on a keyboard or with your mouth in person. Talk about the issues. If you have a family gathering, make it a topic of conversation. Bring it up in general conversation. If you're standing in a grocery store grocery store line, and you're having to wait, strike up a conversation and just ask people, do you know what the pay-to-play thing is? Just start conversations. Spread the word.
Luana, I cannot thank you enough for coming and doing this tonight, because I know how busy you are, and I can't even begin to say how much I appreciate the fact that you have built our online team into such an amazing team of voices for these cats. When you said there were 800 people out there working, I'm thinking... Go ahead.
Those are our regulars, people that are either on a team as a member, or a team leader, or a team coordinator, or a project coordinator. And I'd say it's a conservative number.
I only deal with 100 people at the sanctuary, so I can't even imagine the stress level by timesing that by 8. That just blows my mind. So thank you, everybody who is a part of that team, and LaWanna, you for creating that team in the very beginning and building it to what it is today. Deb, who is our speaker for next week? Do you know?
Next week is Merritt and Beth Clifton. They are with the animals247.org, and they will be with us next week.
Great. You guys will love them. They are authors and advocates that I have known forever, and they really do a great job with their publication called Animals 24/7. If there is any kind of an animal issue in the world going on, they're going to have the most in-depth articles about every aspect of it. So I share those all the time. Paul is usually here with us. I don't see her tonight, but she usually shares those over at bigcatrescue.org/news. And I would just want to thank everybody for being here tonight again. And if you'll open up your microphone and just let LaWanna know how much you love her right now.
Thank you. Love you. Thank you.
Love you guys.
All right. Go ahead. Wait, what's...